Let us now continue with our class on a journey to the West. Currently, we are talking about the third stop of Pontsog Rinpoche and his teaching at Rocky Mountain. There are 10 stops in total that Pontsog Rinpoche made. Let's see, I'm not sure if I will be able to finish this completely. Some people may be able to only hear a part of it, not completely finishing it, and so on. But as a teacher, I'm not sure if I'll be able to give you the entire teaching, but I will definitely teach it all the way to the end as long as I'm alive. Many people are looking for the Tibetan version of this book, and I'm trying to see if this will be made available during the Parinirvana Day. Many people are seeking for the books, and they're using various ways to get the books. Nowadays, it seems that there are even the parroted books made available, which is fine because that really eases our stress on printing. All of the teachings that's contained over here are the teachings given by Pontsog Rinpoche in each class while listening to the teachings. Instead of thinking that you're listening to the teachings from me, rather, I think the best way is to visualize that you're directly receiving the teachings from Pontsog Rinpoche in person. And I am not just speaking of these teachings or make up these teachings. These teachings, in fact, are all transcribed from the audios and videos made from back then, directly taught by Pontsog Rinpoche from his latter words 30 years ago. Pontsog Rinpoche gave Dharma teaching in this way. This is how you should contemplate. Just imagine that you traveled back in time and then listening to the Dharma teachings directly, receiving the Dharma teachings directly from Pontsog Rinpoche, just as some of those movies and TVs that would show how people can time travel backwards and then meet the people that they want to meet and receive the teachings that they want to receive. And then you can visualize that you're following Pontsog Rinpoche step by step and stop by stop, attended each sessions and received each teachings from Pontsog Rinpoche. When I really think about it, I feel very fortunate and honored to have followed Rinpoche 30 years ago on this journey. And being there, I tried my best to put all the information together and present it to you. And similarly, you can visualize yourself to have followed Rinpoche also 30 years back and received teachings directly from him as well. So Pontsog Rinpoche over here, he said that you may have noticed that for most people who do not engage in any Dharma practice, the older they get, the less they smile, and all day long they have a gloomy face. By contrast, true practitioners of Buddhism, except for those like me who have heart disease, will smile more and more and become happy and optimistic in their lives. Pontsog Rinpoche has a heart disease, and it's hard to work with that. And there are people who have different kinds of diseases, even mental problems such as depression. I myself also have a disease, not depression, because in Tibetan language, depression is related to heart disease. So Khenpo here is relating to both of them together. So for people who have a heart disease, it's hard for them to be happy and optimistic. We can see that in our daily life. They would easily to get upset with the people around them. They would say that, why are you so happy? I'm not happy. I'm not healthy. So why are you so happy? And they would try to create problems, or not even trying, but they naturally would just create problems. When they're happy, then they're just like celestial beings and living in celestial realm, and when they're not, they're like beings in hell realm. So people, when they're happy, they see the whole environment as really wonderful and people being wonderful, and when they're not, then they see the world and perceive the world completely differently. So Ponso Rinpoche over here said that, like me, who have heart disease, but through the photo we can see that Ponso Rinpoche is smiling on the photo. Now Ponso Rinpoche made the remark that even smiling more is the direct benefit of the Dharma that it would bring us in our present life. When we look at Tibetans, those senior Tibetans, when they are, when they have time after retired, and when they even are quite aged, they're still happy. They're smiling. They use their prayer wheels. They prostrate and they circumambulate and so on. They're very happy every day. But for people without any Dharma practices, they would stay in senior homes and they're gloomy all day long. So for practitioners, they would be able to feel very happy, whatever kinds of conditions, whatever kinds of situations they would face, even including late-stage cancer. If the doctors were to tell them that, oh, you got late-stage cancer, there's no need for you to stay in hospital, just you can go home and wait to die. And then as a practitioner, they would feel very happy about it. Would you be able to do that? You can contemplate upon it. Gyatso Rinpoche is a perfect example. Ponso Rinpoche stated that the older he gets, the happier he feels. When you look at the photo of Gyatso Rinpoche, you can see that he's always smiling. We spent 3 months together, and I have never seen him getting upset. He would say that, sure, no problem, Rinpoche. And he calls me as the young Khenpo from my monastery. And he would say that, are you upset, the young Khenpo from my monastery? And then he would then introduce different disciples to Ponso Rinpoche and said that this is the bald disciple, this is the disciple with hair. He would jokingly tell Ponso Rinpoche when Ponso Rinpoche grants blessings to the disciples. He seems to be very chirpy and really happy every day. And this year, he passed away at the age of 90-something, and Sunday Khandro as well as the others noticed that they noticed many auspicious signs during the passing of Gyatso Rinpoche. And then Ponso Rinpoche said that however many worldly people of the same age have to experience more suffering because they have recklessly committed negativity continuously, and their agony is likely to increase as they get older. This is a striking contrast. Am I right? And then he's looking at Gyatso Rinpoche, and his face is beaming with happiness right now. Ponso Rinpoche looking at Gyatso Rinpoche, and then he said, then look around at those who do not practice. It seems like they're all looking sad and knitted eyebrows. When I look around, I see that there are practitioners. After knowing them for 10-20 years, I've never seen some of the practitioners smiling. I've never seen their teeth, in fact, from smiling. Maybe because they don't have good teeth. I don't know. When I first, at the very beginning of when I was young, and I had a brass made of tooth crown. And then Ponso Rinpoche noticed it and saying that as a monastic, it looks really ugly when you have such a golden color in your mouth. So right away went to Chengdu and took that crown down. Maybe many of you who are not smiling because you have a whole set of golden teeth in your mouth, or maybe because you don't have any teeth at all. Maybe that's why you're not laughing. after Pontsog Rinpoche jokingly talked about Gyatso Rinpoche and the rest of the people, the crowds laughed and applauded. Some people may wonder, how do Buddhists work for the benefit of both the present and future lives? To attain peace and ease for future lives, we must embark on the sublime Dharma path that is peaceful and harmless for the benefit of ourselves and all other beings. The peaceful and harmless path is beneficial equally to all sentient beings instead of only serving those who appreciate the Dharma and harming those who dislike it. Buddhism in itself is all-embracing and provides unconditional support and helps sentient beings of all kinds and of all levels. Like nowadays, there are different kinds of religions and different kinds of people with different beliefs. They would step on the sutras, the Buddhist texts, or they would wage war and so on. Stepping on the Buddhist text does not create harm to you, does not, the Buddhists would not wage war or anything to you. As Buddhists, I think it is crucial for us to understand that there is no sense of revenge, so to speak, in Buddhism. Do not think that, oh, this person has humiliated Dharma doctrine, has humiliated my teacher, therefore I have to take revenge. Do not do that at all. In fact, Buddhism itself is all-embracing and provides unconditional support to help sentient beings of all kinds and of all levels. This is just such a touching proclamation. And I think you should write it down. Maybe some of those words would be able to benefit you for your whole life. According to the Buddhist doctrine, one does not help those who are beneficial to oneself only and inflict harm upon those who are malicious. Instead, one should express even more kindness to any harmdoers. In addition, one must not only venerate exalted ones such as royalty and Brahmins and those with renowned reputations and wealth, but disregard commoners or people of lesser fortune. The worldly people, in fact, only treat the ones who can provide benefits to them with great kindness, but not the ones who do not bring them benefits. Instead, one must care more for those who are struggling and treat them with loving kindness and compassion. Also, one must not simply be kind to human beings, but continue to harm other types of beings, because all living beings suffer equally from physical illness and mental afflictions. For instance, animals such as horses, cows, it is obvious that animals have the same desire for happiness and the same aversion towards suffering. Sadly, however, they have no idea of how to attain happiness, since they do not have the intelligence that humans do. For this reason, they need more care and love. Now try to fuse yourself into the Dharma teachings. I do not want to elaborate too much on these teachings, but you yourself should delve into it yourself and then truly be there to receive these profound teachings, because there is so much depth within it. The altruistic and compassionate spirit is also an important measurement for discerning Buddhist teachers. Dharma masters that possess pure altruistic intentions and compassionate conduct are commonly regarded as good teachers, while those who lack compassion and altruistic activity are believed to be bad teachers. In this logic, those who have only a mediocre motivation and conduct to benefit others are referred to as average teachers. So there are the three levels of teachers being presented over here. So the criteria for being good or bad teachers is whether they follow the peaceful and harmless path to benefit beings. The criteria for being good or bad teachers is whether they follow peaceful and harmless path to benefit beings. Those who fully embrace this sublime path are good teachers in name and in actuality. Well, when it comes to the criteria for teachers, for fellow practitioners, it all applies to their intention and their activity. If you do not have any good intention and conduct, and how could you say that you're a good person? There are different degrees of altruism. For instance, considering those Tibetan masters who carry out altruistic activity only in the Tibetan region, it is merely altruism of a lesser degree. Rather, to benefit beings in places where Dharma is not flourishing at all is a truly remarkable activity endowed with great qualities. When you go to places where Dharma is not flourishing, the beings do not benefit from the nourishment of the Dharma, in fact, are suffering. So if you can be at those places and benefit beings in those places are considered as activities with great quality. Given that most Tibetans take delight in performing virtue, it is not particularly challenging even to attract all Tibetans as the disciples and to teach them the Dharma. This is why propagating Dharma in the land of Tibet can only be counted as altruism of a lesser degree. Because it's easy to teach the Tibetans, they're very accustomed to altruistic or very accustomed to virtuous deeds, and at least they know what is right and what is wrong. So it is easy to educate the Tibetans, but when you want to propagate the Dharma in places that the teachings of such virtue is less prevalent, then that is considered as a great conduct of altruism, such as in Africa, in the lands there is no Dharma. There are lay practitioners who tells me that they want to give teachings they want to teach and they want to go and help in the places where Dharma is less prevalent. I told them that this is such a great aspiration. Even if you were to give teachings such as Om Mani Padme Hum to the Africans, to share some cookies to them and then teach them how to chant and how to sing Om Mani Padme Hum, that is a wonderful virtue, to plant some virtuous deeds in their mind stream. Not just Africa, in various kinds of places in the world where Dharma is not prevalent, those are the places that you should go. If you can keep your mind and do not disturb if you can keep treading on your own path and do not disturb others' mind, then this is the aspiration you can make, and to benefit beings at those places. I go to different places, and especially abroad, it is very difficult to propagate Dharma abroad. So we can see that the great masters who then propagate Dharma in different places, they're truly great beings. So instead of accomplishing the benefit of others with a broader attitude and a more diligent and undaunted spirit is considered superb altruism. The reason I share these words with you is that I hope those who have entered Buddhism can develop sincere faith and conviction in the Buddha and the Dharma, and those who haven't taken refuge in the Buddhism can be inspired to gradually enter Buddhism by deeply reflecting on my words. Regarding the qualities of Buddha and the Dharma, even wise Buddhist scholars would find it difficult to describe them completely, let alone someone like me. I cannot enumerate all their qualities, even if I were to speak for months. But now it is time to move on to the next topic. Now, Khenpo Sodargye started to talk about refuge vow. Now we will discuss how to take refuge in the three jewels. To take refuge in the Buddha is to wholeheartedly regard the Buddha as the one and only primary teacher in your life. To take a refuge in the Dharma is to follow wholeheartedly the teaching that the Buddha taught and never learn or practice doctrines that are contrary to the Dharma. To take refuge is to take refuge in the Sangha is to rely on the Buddha's followers as your sole companion on your spiritual path and never turn to those who hold wrong views towards the Buddha or even denigrate the Buddha. More than these, since the supreme embodiment of all the three jewels of the root guru, you should supplicate the root guru, adhere to the root guru's guidance, and emulate and practice the root guru's instructions. In doing so, one is taking refuge in the guru. Now, if you aspire to become an authentic Buddhist, please repeat after me and pray for taking refuge 3 times so that you can receive the refuge. Now, I would ask you to repeat after me to chant the Tibetan.
Cholar Chapsum Cho, Gendan La Chapsum Cho, Lama La Chapsum Cho, Sangye La Chapsum Cho, Cholar Chapsum Cho, Gendan La Chapsum Cho, Lama La Chapsum Cho, Sangye La Chapsum Cho, Cholar Chapsum Cho, Gendan La Chapsum Cho.
Now that having taken refuge in Buddhism, Phuntsok Rinpoche, after repeated this for 3 times and bestowed refuge vow on the assembly, having taken refuge in Buddhism, you adopt the identity of being Buddhist. From now on, whatever Dharma you practice, you will gain benefits and blessings that are exceptionally greater than before, because now that you have already received the precepts and corresponding merits and qualities associated with those precepts. As long as you do not violate the refuge vow in this present life, you will enjoy extended longevity and good health and be completely free from harm caused by evil influences. In your future lives, you will be protected from sufferings in the lower realms. From this life onwards, you will always be reborn as human, blessed with noble birth, stately appearance, abundant possessions and enjoyments, and renowned reputation. Moreover, upon your death, you will be reborn in Sukhavati or other pure realms and eventually attain all noble qualities of a Buddha. These are the benefits of taking refuge in the three jewels. So after bestowing, I think those of you can also learn from this method of bestowing the refuge vow and then talk about the quality, the merit, as well as the precepts associated to it. Having taken refuge, it is essential that you observe the corresponding precepts. That is, having taken refuge in the Buddha, you should not forget to supplicate the Buddha and Bodhisattvas in your daily lives. Having taken refuge in the Dharma, you must abstain from harboring malicious intentions or harming beings of superior, middling, or inferior categories, especially when it comes to the Vajra brothers and sisters. You definitely should not have those kinds of harmful thoughts. Having taken refuge in the Sangha, you are required to follow the Buddha's followers, to embrace the path to full enlightenment and diligently engage in Dharma practice. Most importantly, having taken refuge in the root Guru, you should serve the Guru with sincere devotion, abide by his or her instructions, and act according to the Guru's intentions at all times and in all situations. From now on until you attain complete enlightenment, it is necessary to be responsible for 2 things. First, you have to always try to use all kinds of means to bring benefits and happiness to all sentient beings. And second, since it is impossible to benefit beings if Dharma vanishes from the world, please do your best to uphold and spread the Dharma. When you look at the photo, Phuntsok Rinpoche is extremely happy. Now that Phuntsok Rinpoche has already passed away, we cannot see him in person. But when you look at those photos of Phuntsok Rinpoche smiling with such great cheerfulness, it is just as if you have seen him in person. So we need to remember these 2 responsibilities. The first one is to benefit sentient beings. The second one is to uphold the Dharma and spread the Dharma. You should write this down and you should remember these 2 responsibilities as a Buddhist. For instance, you may exert your efforts to establish Dharma centers in places where there are no centers, or to assist establishing centers to become more prosperous and thriving. Whenever you have such conditions, such possibilities, such conditions, then you should definitely try your best to exert your effort in such a way. Now you have become disciples of the 3 jewels. Please do not forget this title and do not forget the 3 jewels. And then the audience started laughing. I have no idea what they're laughing about, really. If I were to tell all of you now that now you're disciples of 3 jewels, do not forget the 3 jewels. Do you laugh about it? But in the West, I have no idea why the Western audience are laughing. So I think there are definitely different sense of humor between the Westerners and Easterners. I should have really asked the Westerners what they're laughing about. What is so funny about this statement? Now you have already become the disciples of 3 jewels. Please do not forget about this title and do not forget the 3 jewels. Not so sure why they're laughing. Maybe because those disciples are really happy, but I noticed that people who are not that who were not believers, but they were also laughing, maybe because they feel that it must not be that easy. Okay, so we should stop here today.